Today is gonna be a tricky day. First thing we got to do is we're going to be moving our American breast chickens out into some new pasture over here. But the ducklings and gosling that we let loose last video, but we weren't able to get them to go back into their little coop area. So these ducklings and gosling stayed on the water where I couldn't get to them. And so we got to figure out a way to get them off the pond and into the back in their coop area. So Mrs. Nikki Gardner, I was just thinking about how we did with these Welsh Harlequin ducks last time. I think what we did, we took the advice of Morgan from Goldshaw Farms and also Mike the Fit Farmer. They said restrict the feed from them. So we're going to take the feed out of their coop and only try to draw them into the coop when it's feeding time. We're going to do the hand clapping or some type of sound, probably with the clapping with all ducks goes to bed like they do, or just do a clap or some type of sound to make them realize that there's some food or they're about to be fed into their coop. And another thing that I got to try to do is I probably won't be able to do it, is I have my drone stuck up into the tree. I tried to make it come down, return to home, and it wasn't paying attention, playing on my phone, and got stuck up in the branches. Don't know if I will get to that today, but one thing we do have to get to do today is start some fall seeds and transplant our second succession of tomatoes. But now we got to move these guys. For the month of August, we here in Northeast Texas, Zone 8A, we don't get much rain. Most of our rainfall is in the early parts of the year, in the spring and late winters. So with these spikes going into this hard ground, you can see they get all bent up. So we gotta kind of reshape them. I'm gonna try it this way. Hopefully it works. At least to get somewhat corrected. There we go. And I'll just bend this one back. Good enough it's gonna get. Another thing we're gonna have to do is, instead of stepping on them, because sometimes that causes it to bend, we have to just pound it in, and that will get it just like that. So after we move our coops, our pens, we always want to test the power of it. 3.7, that's decent. I like it to be at least a 4, but there is some areas back here I still got to cut. I think the grass is grounding that out over there, so I'm happy with that. So we just had a customer was interested in some of our Welsh Harlequin ducklings I should say. She wants to get them, and now our plan got kind of expedited on getting these ducklings back into their pens. Wonder if we could do this. It might work. It might work. Ah, gonna get into the water. So that didn't work. So what we're gonna have to do, we got that some extra temporary fencing. What me and Mrs. Nickengarden did previously, we got on one side, and we just dragged the fence across and pushed them along. So we're gonna try to see if we can do that again. So as you can see, that plan worked out. Now I'm hot and sweaty. Now we're just waiting for the lady to come by and pick them up. We tried to offer a free drake, but apparently she already has some drakes, too many drakes that's probably too aggressive. Kind of same thing that we had to deal with last year. We had to send a lot of our drakes to freezer camp, and now we have a more calmer drake, even though Drake, the wild Top Gun crew, doesn't like when Quagmire attacks his ladies. Now Quagmire, once these girls grow up a little bit better and be able to mate, he's going to have a lot of choices.
Puppy dog. My baby. Silly baby.
Things I like about Welsh is they are prolific egg layers and how beautiful they look. And you can sex these ducks at birth by their bills.
Within 72 hours. And then it gets confusing after that until they get to I want to say about 9 weeks old.
Yeah. But this one's Miss Gorgeous right here.
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Naked Gardener did not like these ducks at first. She was like, they're started off like the little teenagers over there.
They'll put you off because they're a bit skittish at a younger age.
Yeah, but it took some time, and now they're, as you can see, they're a lot more comfortable being around us. So it takes some training. So if you have some good patience, you can get these ducks. But if you don't, then you're going to be like her.
I wanted to get rid of ducks because of them. I did. But they are my favorite. Like, of all the ducks that we have, the Welsh Harlequins are my most favorite ducks.
So one of the reasons why we don't allow our chickens to free range is because we want to control the nitrogen from their poop to fertilize our soil. When we first got here, our soil was very compact because the previous owners, used to till up and harvest this pasture for hay. And so they were just taking all that nutrients out of our soil. And then when we got here, there was a lot of like wild carrots, wild onions, some thistle, all these type of wild weeds, even henbit, that was just saturated our field or overcrowding our field. So what we have noticed recently is that now this year we haven't seen that many thistles, not many henbit. So that kind of give us an idea that our pasture is improving. We'll keep them on to a certain area for no longer than 2 weeks with these Gallagher fencing of 164 feet. We're able to keep about 10 to 20 chickens in here, depending on what type of chickens that you have, in a controlled area for just our field, where it doesn't, they don't just tear up our field as much. For our egg layers, we have roughly at least about 45 egg layers over there. With those, we do move a little bit more frequently, probably about, no, about the same as 2 weeks, because they're a little bit wider pasture and they're not heavily concentrated in just one particular area. They'll go out and just forage out and scratch, kind of get some of that air back into the soil. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to mow where the American breast was currently at. That grass is going to turn into carbon that's hopefully going to be feeding their poop that's been out in this area. It's later part of the day. We're going to be going into the garden. I have some tomatoes I got to get transplanted, and it's best to do it when it's a little bit later on the evening. What I like to do after I transplant any of our plants is to water them very heavily for the next 7 days. That way it allows the roots in that soil to soak up the new roots. The roots will be able to penetrate deeper into the soil, give them a nice healthy start. Also try to do some worm castings around them in the hole that I'm going to be transplanting them with, so that way it also helps with the transplant shock. There's still some tomatoes I got to get out of these beds. They're basically spent, they're dead. Mrs. Naked Garden already harvests a lot of those tomatoes, so hopefully they ripen out onto the counter. You lucky Mr. Grasshopper, the chickens aren't around here. So I want y'all to take a look at this. These tomato plants were about to die off. We put the shade cloth on and look at the greenery that was going to be on the second wave here. I mean, check out that. Let me see if I can brighten it up a little bit. And then you got all your green tops right there. So that should be a great testimony for y'all new gardeners that's out in the southern area. Get your shade cloth and it will help with your UV rays from the harsh sun. So I was gonna transplant some of these tomato starts that we did. We started from in the cell, but we kept them outside so that way I didn't have to harden off any of the plants that we're gonna be transplanting into the garden beds. But after just pulling up all of these tomatoes that were well spent, I noticed that the marigolds and grass and weeds had just overrun the bed, so I'm gonna have to weed and get rid of some of the grass area to make a clear path for when we transplant. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you some of the seeds that we're going to be starting indoors in no particular order. It's just things that we're going to be starting this month, possibly even this weekend, for starting off with the fall season. One is we're going to have the alyssum. Now these are annuals, however in our growing zone they almost consider as a perennial. What I'm going to do with these is I'm going to possibly put them in one of the rows, and then we're also going to put it in the container in our, so that way once we get the herb garden tea garden all set up, I can transplant it. Now this is a annual. It's called a Vinca. It's a mixed variety color one. These are going to be great for the fall. These are actually a summer crop, but with the fall season, these work very well. We had great success with these in the fall. Pentas, these are from Burpees. I think they're considered a perennial. I guess they're annuals. They'll bloom from the summer to the fall. These we're going to direct sow. I think I can do these now. I'll direct sow some of these. I'll wet it up, and we're going to be having the garden on a watering system. Once the already existing pickling cucumbers get spent out, it'll have a nice rebound with these. Growing some more lettuce. I have some already indoors. I'm going to try to get a succession planting going on where we'll do these about every 3 to 4 weeks. But these are from Johnny Seeds. These are called the Mirror Pelletized seeds. Savanova. These are a classic with the market gardeners. These are some I got from Urban Farmer. It's a small seed company, I guess. But this one is called Continuality. Or Continuity, I guess. And then we got some Cherokee by Johnny Seed. I'm going to try to grow some of these Cosmos. These are called the Double Dutch Rose. Verbanias, I guess I'm saying it correctly, but these are also great perennials. And I got these are from Ferry Morris. Some more verbena. And this is some yarrow that we're going to be growing out in the herb tea garden. Great if you have, especially during the cold weather season with flus, fevers, and stuff like that. Can't have herbs without having oregano. These are some violas, some classic Johnny Jump Ups. I've tried to grow these, never had a great success. I guess they're called lupines. They're perennials. Some Shasta daisies. These are some great perennials. I'm kind of curious about, I forgot why, I had these from In My Gardeners for a long time. Not sure why I ordered these, but what I found out about these is since we are raising rabbits, these are great if your does are nursing or going into pregnancies. So we're going to be growing a lot. I'm going to have to go to In My Garden and order some more of these, and we're going to be starting some more seeds of these because we have a planter on the side of the barn right where they're at that I would like to just basically have all of these right next to them. Unfortunately, they're annuals. Not sure if they're supposed to be grown during the summer months or the cooler months. So read you what it says on the back of the package. Matter of fact, it's a delicious green with edible seeds. So we can even let these go to seed. Greens are used in traditional Indian cuisine for their strong curry-like taste in flatbreads and main dishes. In some countries, Fenugreek Greek seeds are used like coffee. Their caramel maple scent. Smell these real quick. Don't smell anything. Oh, so you can even use these in teas and baking. So these, once again, would be great in our herbal tea garden bed that we're going to be forming up here. Primarily grown for its seeds. Seeds will be ready to harvest at the end of the season when the weather begins to cool. Oh, man. And when the plants start to turn yellow, snap the husk off the plant. The rest of the leaves are ready for harvest when the leaves first drop. Used in the herbalism to support digestive and support lactation for nursing mothers. There you go. So we're going to go ahead and start some of these seeds indoors. With the piglet, I'm going to go ahead and plant these in the ground in our back cucumber trellis back there. We're going to start getting this into transition with the fall season, so stay tuned. We'll be getting some more garden tours. If you want to see our latest garden tour, where it's a complete garden tour, we'll put that video off to the side and also in the description down below. Until the next video, let's grow together.